The Galactic Zoo wasn't a place for animals. It was a living archive of the galaxy's most intelligent, most fascinating species, a cathedral of life, curated by the Council over millennia. From the towering crystal-backed Oran to the delicate, telepathic Veiri, each species was displayed in carefully simulated environments, observed by visitors from across known space. But there was always one empty enclosure, a massive, reinforced habitat in the central wing, shrouded in shadows and isolation. On the plaque, in polished silver, was a single word: reserved. Every cadet in the Galactic Zoological Corps had theories. Some whispered that it was meant for a species so rare that only fossils remained. Others claimed it was for a god beast from the dark fringes of the galaxy. The truth was, no one in living memory had ever seen it filled. That changed the day Captain Orash received a secure transmission from the Council. The message was short: the final specimen has been located. Prepare for transport. The transport ship arrived 2 days later under heavy guard. Orash had expected something massive, perhaps even requiring sedation. Instead, a single figure stepped off the ramp, her hands free, her posture unrestrained. She was small. Orash's eyes swept over the human. He'd seen images, read the footnotes in ancient restricted files, but the reality was stranger. The human's gaze scanned the station with a calm, almost predatory patience. She didn't seem afraid. She didn't even seem curious. The officers flanking her kept their distance, as though proximity was dangerous. "Welcome," Orash said, trying to keep his tone professional. "You are to be housed in our central habitat. This is an honor." The human smiled faintly, and the gesture was somehow unsettling. "An honor for who?" she asked. The Council's representative, a towering Venari named Dresh, approached. "You will be observed here, human. The galaxy has waited eons to study your kind." The human's eyes narrowed. "That's the problem with waiting too long," she murmured. "By the time you're ready, you've forgotten why you should be afraid." Orash frowned. "Afraid? Of what?" She didn't answer. The next few days were wrong. The human never touched the food provided, yet she showed no signs of hunger. Surveillance footage revealed that she moved through the habitat with an efficiency that suggested mapping, measurement, calculation. She spoke to no one, yet every guard reported the same sensation after passing her enclosure: a spike of adrenaline, a deep-rooted fight-or-flight reflex they couldn't explain. On the 4th day, a security alert blared through the station. One of the apex predators from another wing, a Shark with diamond-edged claws, had breached containment. The beast rampaged through the corridors, tearing through blast doors like paper. Visitors screamed. Guards scrambled. The Shark turned a corner and froze. It had stumbled into the central habitat, and the human was standing in the open. The Shark, a predator that had slaughtered armored hunters and ripped through combat drones, hesitated. Its nostrils flared, its predatory eyes locked on the human. Then, it stepped back. In the control room, Orash watched, stunned. "Why isn't it attacking?" he muttered. Beside him, Dresh's mandibles clicked nervously. "It's recognizing something." On the feed, the human took a single step forward. Her hands were relaxed at her sides, but her gaze was fixed, unblinking, deliberate. The Shark shuddered, lowering itself as if in submission, and then, it turned and fled. Security teams later recovered the beast cowering in a maintenance bay. But the footage of the encounter sent ripples through the station. The apex predator hadn't just avoided the human, it had yielded. When questioned, the human merely shrugged. "Predators know predators," she said simply. "Some just hide it better." From that moment on, the station changed. Guards stopped walking too close to the central habitat. Maintenance crews refused to work there after dark cycles. Even the telepaths kept their distance, claiming the human's mind was like staring into the open mouth of a star. But the Council demanded progress. "Study her," Dresh ordered. "Understand her kind. We have waited too long to leave the last plaque blank." So they brought in scientists, linguists and xenopsychologists. They offered her games, puzzles and cultural exchanges. She played along, until they asked about Earth. Her expression grew cold. "You want to know why you've never captured a human before?" she asked. It's because the ones you found let you. That statement froze the entire team. In the weeks that followed, strange anomalies began to occur across the station. Surveillance data was corrupted. Doors in restricted areas opened and closed without authorization. Small tools went missing, always the kind that could be used for sabotage. The human never left her habitat. But Orash started to suspect. She didn't need to. The truth revealed itself the day the Vorlan Dominion sent an envoy to inspect the zoo. The Vorlan were notorious slavers, and their presence always drew protests. But this time, as their delegation approached the central habitat, the human moved to the glass. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. One by one, the Vorlan turned pale, their breathing ragged. The leader staggered back, muttering in his own tongue. "It's true, it's them." That night, Orash confronted her. "What did you do?" She leaned against the glass, smiling faintly. "Your zoo is a collection of prey animals, Captain. You wanted to put a wolf in the pen and see what happens." Orash swallowed. And her smile widened, sharp, knowing. Wolves don't stay in cages. The next morning, the central habitat was empty. The reinforced barriers hadn't been breached. The locks hadn't been hacked. The human was simply gone. Every system she'd been near had been subtly altered. Security codes changed. Transit schedules rewritten. Defense grids looped into endless false read cycles. By the time the Council realized the scale of the breach, 3 other apex predators were also missing. Weeks later, a transmission reached the outer colonies. It was a simple message, encoded in a dozen languages. "Earth is not missing from your zoo. You are missing from ours." The rest of the galaxy finally understood why the plaque had stayed empty for so long. Humans weren't specimens. They were keepers.